Hello, Power Up Nation. Pat Council here to share 5 basics to master for building your profitable business. If you want to be successful in business, if you want to have that income flow coming in, you will want to master the 5 things that I'm going to share with you. I mean, things change so rapidly in business these days. One minute you learn something, and thanks to the internet and artificial intelligence, things change a lot faster than perhaps a lot of us are accustomed to. However, if you master these 5 basics, you'll be fine. Okay. Now, here's my caveat. When I say you'll be fine, you will build a profitable business. However, that does not mean that you will not face challenges. That's just a fact of life, that we are going to face challenges. So with that being said, let's get right into this. And I'm going to share these 5 basics that you want to master, but I'll give you a little insight into each one of them. You're not going to learn all of it on this podcast, but we have some tools and events that are coming up. Build Your Own Income Masterclass, that's backed by popular demand. We have a repeat on that. We also have, for women, Love Yourself to Wealth. That's coming up soon, and the links will be in the show notes. And so we have a lot of things that are going on. Of course, tomorrow I'm going to be talking about my new books. I'm going to do a special Friday podcast. And I think the more I think about it, and I've been thinking about this for a while, and then we're going to get into the 5 basics. I've been thinking about this for a while. I think I'm going to have a special Friday podcast episode that really shares another perspective, that gives you insights that will allow you to look at both sides of things when it comes to your personal life, as far as personal growth, and when it comes to your business success, as far as business growth. All right. So with that being said, anything else that I didn't talk about here, you guys can check it out in our show notes. All you have to do is go to designingyourlifetoday.com and click on this episode under podcasts in the menu section. Click on podcast, then click on the episode, and you will see everything in the show notes. Or if you're on a different platform, or you want to view it or listen on a different platform, you will be able to do that as well. Except I think Apple and maybe a couple of others. However, designingyourlifetoday.com/podcast. Click on the episode and you can see all the show notes, see all the links, and make the right connections with us. We'd love to hang out with you. Okay, so let's get into this. First of all, when it comes to the 5 basics that you want to master today in order to be successful in your business, one of the first things, and this one, it's obvious but not so obvious, and that would be attitude. Now, attitude is like the foundation for everything. Now, we're going to talk about some other things that go beyond attitude, of course, but that's your foundation. Why? Because you need to have that attitude that will help you to stay inspired, that will help you stay motivated, that will help you really call on, the right energies and attitudes that you need to call on within yourself so that you can activate your discipline. If you missed yesterday's podcast, I shared 3 strategies that you can use to actually build discipline a lot easier and make it easier to build discipline. However, your attitude plays a huge role in everything that you do in your life. Now, one thing I want to say about attitude, and the reason why I put this one first, because I consider this to be the most important. This is not about going to college. You don't need a college degree to be successful in business. This is not about all of the technical knowledge that perhaps you're going to have to acquire over time, which does not necessarily include college, but it could. But with the wrong attitude, things will not work out for you. And here's an example. If a person is arrogant or they're obstinate, they're so stubborn and slightly rebellious that they won't listen to anybody because they're the know-it-all, okay, or they're afraid of looking like they're not smart, it's hard for that person to learn. So arrogance and obstinance will not serve you. And that's the wrong attitude. So when we talk about paying attention to your attitude and making that one of the basics that you have to master, the object of the game is for you to think about your attitude. In other words, how are you coming across to people? How do you treat people? And so if you're arrogant, if you're rude, if you're really difficult to deal with because you have a chip on your shoulder for whatever reason, then it makes people not want to deal with you. Now, it's important that you develop your people skills, which, spoiler alert, that is one of the basics that you have to master if you want to be successful in business. Now, back to attitude and having the wrong attitude. I mentioned about having a chip on your shoulder. You can't have a chip on your shoulder and be successful. Rude people rarely make it. And if you're listening to this and you say, well, I know some rude people there and they're wealthy and they're successful and they made it in business, I can assure you that when they were up and coming, and they were working on getting their business to a profit level or a level to where they felt what you call safe, because money gives you a false sense of security. And so I can assure you that they were humble, they were nice, that they were actually almost to the point of catering to other people to get what they wanted. They did not show that rude arrogance then. Okay, so keep that in mind. The other thing I want to say about attitude is the attitude that you really want to make sure that you develop is that attitude where you just never give up, that you decide that you're never going to quit. So how you think about your business and the outcome of that business, it will be determined by what type of attitude you have. And as I said, it makes people not want to deal with you at all. And it becomes very hard for you to go up that business ladder. I've met people that were very skillful and very smart and very sharp, but their attitude was a complete turnoff. And no one wants to help a person like that. And sometimes, I have a lot of compassion. And so I kind of try and look beyond why is that attitude like it is. But the other side to that coin is no one has to deal with that attitude. Okay, I'm not their parents. I'm not their mother, their father, their wife or sister or whatever. So, and even if I was their sister, you don't have to deal with rude attitudes or arrogance. Now, I mentioned about the chip on the shoulder. Back to that, just really quickly. Years ago, I remember when I was in the military and I had some anger issues there. And I can remember to this day that one of a sergeant major called me into his office. And at the time I was in the Army band, and he said to me, he says, you're a great singer, you're a great performer. And he said, but you know what? When you come off the stage, that huge chip that you have on your shoulder, everybody can see it. And he said, and that makes people not want to be around you. He also told me, he said, and in the real world, people will not want to deal with you. Well, of course, I was much younger. I was in my 20s. And I remember saying to him foolishly that, I have a chip on my shoulder. In fact, I have a whole tree on my shoulder. So what of it? And of course, I asked for permission to speak freely, which he gave it. And I said, so what of it? If people don't want to deal with me, that's their problem. Well, you know what? I learned something very different because he told me, no, it's going to be your problem in time. And he was right. So I actually had to really work on my attitude. And today I would say, I never thought I would be doing this kind of podcast, designing your life and sharing information to help people do life with power. But you know what? God has the bigger, better plan. And when we yield to him, he can work wonders. So he did work a miracle on me. So let's move on to the other one. I mentioned people skills. It is impossible for you to make lots of money or even build that business to a point where you're making enough money to cover your bills. It's almost impossible for you to do that when you don't know a lot of people, or you have poor people skills, or again, you're rude or nobody wants to deal with you, or you make it all about you and you don't know how to connect with a person. It's important that you develop your people skills and learn how to make a connection. And it's important that you make the connection. Some people, when they meet you and they make an attempt at making a connection, because of their attitude or their behavior, and they lack the people skills, and their communication skills are not where they need to be, because they haven't put in the time to develop their communication skills, to sharpen their communication skills, nor do they realize that they perhaps need to work on their communication skills. So instead of them making a connection, they break the connection. And so you want to think about your people skills. And you say, well, how would I know if my people skills are on point? Just look at your business. Look at your life. If you are not thriving, if no one wants to deal with you, if no one is excited about being in your space, then you know what? Yeah, you might have a people skill problem. Now, here's a caveat. Now, if you stay behind closed doors all the time and you don't take the time to connect with people, well, then that's still a people skills issue. However, it's also a get people skills and take action issue. In other words, go out and meet some people. So one of the things that you want to master are your people skills so that you can make not just any connection, but you need to make the right connections. I can tell you my business would have never grown to the level where it is today. My previous business, being in real estate, owning a real estate company, and my business today would have never grown to where it is had I not made connections and made them in the right way and communicated effectively. There are certain things that you can do. Now, as I said on this podcast, we're just going to touch on the basics that you need to master. And we have things that are coming up. As I said, Build Your Own Income Masterclass. And for women, Love Yourself to Wealth. We have that coming up as well. And the links will be in the show notes. But it's so important that you get the necessary information. And we're going to provide you with some really great playbooks in each of our events that will help you start to master some of these skills, because you need them. You know, it's amazing. People think that a person should do business with them, perhaps because they're the same color, or because in other words, they have the same race or ethnic background, or they think that people should do business with them just because they're the same gender. Okay, I'm a woman-owned business, so you should do business with me because you're a woman. No, here's the thing. You should do business with me because if you're a woman, you should do business with me because I am a woman who just happens to be very good at my business, and I can deliver what you're looking for. I can help you get the results that you desire, and my customer service is going to be impeccable. So don't do business. You can do business. Think about this. Okay, why would I connect to someone who's in a business and just deal with them? Okay, so you're a woman, or you could be of the same race as me and as I am, and I do business with you, but you're not good at what you do. So you know what? That's not fair to me. So I'm going to pay you because you happen to fall in a certain category, certain race, or a certain gender, category. No, that's not fair. So the point that I'm making is, when it comes to your people skills, don't just expect people to do business with you just because you think you have that one connection. Learn effective communication. Learn to be very good at your business. Bring something amazing to the table, something that they want, okay, and need, and then go from there. Okay, so with that being said, I want to say this to you. It's no matter how high you go up the ladder, you will always need people. So you're always going to need to connect with people. And you always will have to build your people skills. No matter, I mean, I communicate for a living. No matter how well I think I can communicate, I always brush up on my communication skills. I have books, I have some things online, but I like to read and I like to practice. So I have the books in front of me. I read something and then I practice it. I visualize a scenario in my mind. And so the point that I'm making is I'm putting in the time because I want to master that basics, that and one of that particular basic. So how do you know that you've mastered the basics? Well, again, your income, we're talking about building a profitable business. Your income's going to reflect that. The number of customers, the number of referrals that you get will reflect that. See, that's the beauty of excellence in business and mastering the basics. And see, that's a part of excellence is mastering the basics. So once you master the basics, people will want to deal with you because you will be known for what? Excellence, good service, excellent product, or whatever it is you have to offer. So your people skills. All right. So we've talked about your attitude. Okay. So that's a skill. And so to speak. And we talked about people skills where you're making the right connections for the right reasons with the expectation that you'll get the right return. Now, when I was talking about people skills, one of the things I said, if you're good at what you do, then I'm happy to do business with you. So that brings me to the next basic that you want to master, technical skills. And when I say technical means whatever your businesses are, respectively, how good are you? Do you have the necessary tools? Do you know how to actually run that business? Do you know how to provide a service or provide a product without making excuses? Now, don't get me wrong. In business, things happen, and sometimes we run into challenges that are unforeseen. And so we fix it. Okay. So we bounce back, we fix it, we bounce back, and we move forward to helping that customer. And we offer some kind of concession. If it's something that, we put it this way, if it was in my business, if it's my fault, I'm going to offer a concession. Even if it isn't my fault, but it has affected my customer and I'm able to offer a concession, I'll still offer a concession. Why? Because my number one goal is to provide excellent service. And part of excellent service is how you make that customer feel. And so am I going to feel good if you don't know your stuff? If you don't know your business? I'm a business coach. And so whenever I'm coaching someone, I get questions of all kinds. Now, do I know everything? No. But I will do one of two things. Most of the time, I know the answers to their questions, and I know how to help them because of what we focus on: mindset, marketing, and money, building that, getting that income. So we focus on those three things in my coaching. So I can answer their questions, but every now and then they'll fire off a question at me, and it has nothing to do with my area of expertise, but because I believe that in offering excellent service, I stick within my technical skills, and I'm very good at what I do because I took the time to become good, and I constantly sharpen my skills so that I can become even better. But the thing that I don't know, what do you think I do? I say, I will find out for you. And so I find out because that makes me look even more competent, because that tells them, wait a minute, I have connections. There are people in my network that I can reach out to, because the object of the game is to help people get to where it is they want to be. So that third basic is technical skills. And so look at your business and ask yourself, do I really know my business? I had someone say, you know what? I just need someone to give me a chance. And I said, I understand how you feel. And of course I do. But the other side to that is, if you're very good at what you do and you're brand new in business, you know what? You make your chance. Okay. You don't sit around and wait for someone to give you a chance. Okay. Turn that mindset around and say, you know what? I'm very good at what I do. So let me see who needs what I have to offer. And so that might mean you have to prospect and go through a lot of people because you're brand new and you don't have an established reputation yet. But you will find one, And when you find that one, because you have technical skills and you are on point when it comes to your job, and when I say job, I'm talking about your business and what you have to offer, and you deliver that with excellence, listen, they're going to send you referrals. And at that point, you can get a testimonial. So how are your technical skills? How good are you? I've had people come to me and again, they use reasons for me to do business with them because it has nothing to do with what they're going to do for me. It has nothing to do with the service that they want to offer me. So that tells me, well, basically, you just want my money. And I can understand when a person needs money, they need money. But here's the kicker. If you need money, be good at what you do and go after what you desire. And your technical skills, if they're sharp, you'll have confidence. Whether you don't have a new client or any clients at all, your confidence will be out there. Because the same person who told me if someone would just give me a chance, says, I'm very good at what I do. And I shared that with him. Are you sure you're good? Yes, I am good. Well, then you know what? Go after it. So technical skills, you want to build your technical skills. So we talked about your attitude. We talked about sales skills. People skills. We talked about technical skills. And now, another spoiler alert, sales skills. I have had people tell me in business, I hate selling. And then I say to them, you know what? Why are you in business if you hate selling? And people don't like to be sold. And here's the thing. No, people don't like to be manipulated. That's the thing. They don't like to be manipulated. They don't like to be pressured into buying something that they don't need, they don't want. And the person who's offering it thinks that, I need money, so I've got to make this sale. So instead of finding someone who needs what they have, they try and pressure that person who doesn't need it into buying it. Now, I call that manipulative selling, and it's actually not good selling. So people with good sales skills, excellent sales skills, they've put in the time, they put in the practice, they love their product, they know the services that they offer are needed by someone somewhere. They believe in what they're selling. They believe in whatever the service or product is. And at that point, they're not selling. When I share about my business coaching, when I share about the masterclasses and the things that we charge for, we give some things free. This podcast is free. Information on my YouTube channel is free. And every now and then we do a free webinar. So, but the things that I charge for, the people that I go after, or let's say prospect to, or the group or the target market, this is a market that actually, number one, they want what I have to offer. Number two, they need what I have to offer because they are not where they want to be. So I specifically target people who can benefit from what I have to offer. And in order for me to offer that effectively, I've got to have good sales skills. I've run across people who are in business and they have such a great idea. They have their website up and everything. And then when it's time for them to talk about their products, they think that the conversation that they should have with me, it has nothing to do with business. They're making an attempt at establishing a rapport. So they perhaps would talk about, do you like cats? And they don't even sell cats. It has nothing to do with anything. So they're afraid to ask me, do you have a need for this? Or is this something that interests you? Okay, so they're afraid to ask that. Okay, so they just want me to go to their website and look at it and buy. Here's how this works. It's a reap-sow concept. Okay, you reap what you sow. So if you put the time in, you're going to reap the benefits of it. But the rest of that is, if you put the time in and you're not good at what you do, it's just wasted time. So take the time to learn sales skills. It doesn't matter what business you are in, Whether you have a product or a service, get a basic knowledge of sales. I've had people tell me, well, I can hire someone to do that for me. And oddly enough, they don't hire anyone. But here's the other side to that is how many people have hired people because they don't like selling. So they hire people to sell for them, but they don't know what a good salesperson should sound like, look like. So they end up hiring people, pay them, because the person who they hired, they're thinking like that particular person. They just want to make some money. And so they make a few calls and they get paid and still the person has no sales. So the point that I'm making is at least get a working knowledge of sales. So even if you do hire someone, you will know that this person has the potential to be very good. I can talk to a person because I'm good at sales. I mean, I started in real estate. Then while I was in real estate on the back end, I was in a multi-level marketing company, built a team of 91 women, and I taught sales. I've been teaching sales for years. And of course, the business that I'm in now, I'm always having to share information about what I do to people that are interested and put that information out there. A little different kind of selling, but nevertheless still sales. So the point that I'm making is because I have a strong background in sales, I can talk to someone and probably, I'm going to say in less than 2 minutes, I would know if I wanted to hire that person to be one of my salespeople. So you will need some sales skills. Not only that, one last thing before we move on to the fifth and final basic that you want to master. Not only that, if you can't afford to hire anyone, learning some basic sales skills will help you a great deal. Why? Okay, the obvious is you'll know how to sell your own product or service, but it goes beyond that. You will build your confidence about offering your product or service. Do you know that most people don't make a lot of money in business because they don't have the confidence that they need? So what happens is they end up talking themselves out of their own success. They end up talking themselves out of winning as opposed to getting to where it is they truly desire to be. So this is something that you want to consider. Not only that, if you're talking to a person, I've had people talk to me and sometimes they have a product or a service, and they want to offer it to me, but because they have no sales skills, as I said earlier, they just talk and talk and talk. And finally, in the interest of time, because I don't believe in wasting my time, and I certainly don't want to waste someone else's, in the interest of time, sometimes I'll just ask them, so how much is it? And if it's something that I need or something I just want, then I'll just go ahead and buy it. Okay. But there are not a lot of people. There are other people who would do that, but they're not enough such that huge profits will come into a business. So sales skills are extremely important. The final one. So we've talked about attitude. We've talked about people skills, technical skills, sales skills. And finally, you need some kind of internet skills. And again, a working knowledge of it. You don't have to know everything. You don't have to be an expert. However, you want to do your homework. If you're going to be on social media, for example, there are people who, again, have a business. And when I'm coaching them, I look at their social media pages. And so one of the things I see on their social media pages is constant selling. Oh, we have this new product just in, and click here to buy it. Well, there's some new rules behind the whole click here thing on social media, and I'll just go ahead and tell you. One of those rules is when their algorithms are set up such that when you use that phrase, click here, they're going to kind of freeze your information going out. It's not going to be seen. It might get seen by one person. It's not going to be seen by as many people. Why? Because you're looking for free advertising. And of course, and I said this years ago when people were so excited about Facebook being free. One of the things I said to them is, first of all, beware of men bearing gifts. That's a problem Proverbs scripture. I said, because it's not free. Nothing is ever free. So that's why when people are always looking for freebies, that's kind of a lack mentality. I'm sorry if I said it so bluntly. I just had to say it. It's a lack mentality. The way it should work, and there's nothing wrong with getting something free. Okay. However, the mentality that your overall thinking, if you want to be successful in your business, your overall thinking would be more powerful if you said, okay, what do I have to offer? Instead of always going to someone and seeing what can they give you and saying, oh, this is free. So with that being said, Facebook is not free. It's free for you to set up an account. But if you're in business and you want your information to go out there, then you're going to have to pay for some ads. And people that don't buy ads and are looking for organic traffic, you need to know how to make that happen. There's a way you can do that, of course. But the mere fact that you go into it with that mentality, you're saying that I love the Facebook platform, but I want to use them to further my cause, but I don't want them to make money. They have enough money. Really? No. So think about that. Your internet skills, and I know I went off on my little tangent, but hey, it is what it is. So but your internet skills, it's very important. You don't have to know how to build a website, but you want to do your homework and choose the best platform for building your website. Okay. And because you may have to hire someone who has time to learn all of this. Now, full disclosure, I taught myself a lot of things when it came to the internet, okay, over the years. And that was when the real estate market crashed. I had nothing to do, but I had some time on my hands. So I taught myself some things. So I kind of built my own websites and things of that nature and learned how to do that. But the point that I'm getting to here is that you don't have to go that deeply into it. You don't have to be an expert, as I said. However, you do want to have a working knowledge. Don't let someone just build your website and create a platform for you, and you don't like it, or you don't even know how to work it, or you're at their mercy, or they disappear on you. Yeah, I went through that years ago. So learn from my pain. So you want to have that working knowledge of the internet. Back to social media as we start to wrap up here. As I said, when I say you want to have some internet skills, you can just go and post things that say, buy this, buy, oh, I have this new thing, whatever the new thing may be, new book, buy the new book. I have a new book coming out, and I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow. However, I'm not just going to go all on social media and say, oh, click here to buy my book. Okay, I'm going to provide something of value. And I have not been really actively using social media except to post my podcast, because my podcast is free. And so I post my podcast, but my team, they're going to kind of start bombarding, I guess, my pages with things of value, not just selling a bunch of stuff. Because the people that you're trying to sell to, you have no rapport with them. You've given nothing. You guys know the scripture. What is it? It's better to give than receive. Okay. And the reason why, now you have to be open to receiving. And so the reason why it's better to give than receive, and I'll give you one reason, because our time is up here, is that you're going in with a servant's mentality. And so when you go in with a servant's mentality, you begin to see how you can actually help people, and you're interested in helping people. And so then when you're interested in helping people and you start helping people, then guess what? They're going to spread the word about you, and you won't have to sell as hard, and it's going to come back full circle, and they're going to give to you. So you just have to be open to receiving. Now, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't say, hey, for example, I have my book coming out. It doesn't mean you shouldn't say, hey, I have a new book, or whatever your product is. It doesn't mean you shouldn't let people know what you have available. What I'm saying is establish some kind of connection first. Go back to people skills. Okay. Have you ever met a person, and I can tell you, I promise this is the last part, and we're going to wrap up here, you guys. This is a quick story, but it's very real. I remember there was a lady, and I'm not going to say her name because some of you that listen to this podcast may know her. And we were in a multi-level marketing company together. Now, when we both went up the ladder in that company, and she never invited me to any of her meetings because that was kind of the thing when you were all kind of the same rank, so to speak, on that same level. You participate in each other's meetings. Other people invited me to their meetings to speak, to share. I invited them to my meeting. She never invited me to her meetings. She never invited me to anything. She never, as a matter of fact, for whatever reason, she didn't even take the time to establish any kind of rapport with me. And then she got out of this company, and fast forward to a few years later, she had my phone number because we all had each other's phone number. So obviously she kept mine. I get a phone call from her one day out of the blue. Oh, how are you? And the next thing you know, she's trying to sell me something. Well, she had not established any kind of connection with me. Okay. No rapport whatsoever. There's nothing. You had years to become a friend, or just even become an acquaintance, a connection, or somebody who I could say, ooh, we like each other. And don't get me wrong, I don't dislike her. However, I think you guys understand where I'm going with this. There is a book, and it's by Harv Mackey, and it's called Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty. And that's the thing. That's the whole concept. When you're on that internet, what you want to do is start making connections, because you're digging your well before you become thirsty. You're digging your well before you start asking people to give you money. So with that being said, if you start to work on these things, and as I said, I just kind of touched the surface of each one of these, and we're going to talk more about these, and we're certainly going to address these in our upcoming Build Your Own Income Masterclass. And so you guys can kind of do your own homework a little bit and start mastering these. If you master these 5 basics, you will make money in business. You will not starve. I don't care what's going on in the economy. So attitude, people skills, technical skills, sales skills, and internet skills will take you where you want to go in business. With that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing, magnificent day, and do life with power, because you are built by design to win.